Where's the rest of the video, Jonathan? Where's the rest of the video? I heard your comments. We are going to be giving you the last part of, well, the first part of this very long series that Alex Fitzgerald made recently, where he went through and won a $2 buy-in tournament at the micro stakes per your request. You wanted micro stakes content? Here it is. Poker coaching coach Alex Fitzgerald shows up and just outright wins the tournament. This is an interactive learning experience. Make sure you follow along. Make sure you're engaged, because understanding how to play these common spots well is going to go a long way to helping you become a world-class poker player. Also, if you want to take your skills to the next level and you want to study a ton, check out pokercoaching.com/fathers. There'll be a link below. We're having a Father's Day sale right now. Don't miss out. Hope you enjoy the final part of this video.
Here you have pocket fours and you're facing a raise. What would you like to do? Okay, time is up. We're going to go ahead and raise here to 27,000. So let's discuss this hand for a little bit, because I think there's a lot going on here. So first off, Villain 39 has definitely been playing, and those stats are going to look more active after this hand, and there is merit to beating the living snot out of players that are opening and calling too much out of position. There is certainly to that. Did I take it too far here? You could certainly make that case. I think something I was doing when I was playing on this particular day was playing a little bit more aggressive than I typically would, because getting in these situations I trust myself to handle them very well. And there is merit to this, because beyond the actual prize pool, there is teaching materials that do have a financial incentive. This is a teaching material that would be harder to get. Like, you 3-bet a 57-29, you open under the gun. Your hand is supposed to be like 8s or 9s here when you do that. You have 4s. How are you going to finagle this versus Villain 39, who might not care about that? So I wanted to get a hand like that so I could teach you guys, because obviously I'm a teacher as well when it comes to poker, and it's very important to me to get teaching materials that'll really... These spots I don't want you guys getting into nearly as much until you feel much more experienced, but through practice, I could guide you, and we could do it ourselves. It's like if you were batting in Major League Baseball, or not Major League Baseball, let's say you were learning how to play baseball as a kid, and you're like 13, 14 years old. Well, most likely the pitchers don't throw 90 miles an hour at that point. But at some point they're going to, if you go far enough. Well, instead of seeing 90 miles per hour in the batting cage, instead of seeing 90 miles per hour in the game the first time you see it, let's see it in the batting cage, and let's have a batting coach for you. So here we are, we're dialing it up to 90. This is very aggressive. I wouldn't recommend this. So typically if you're playing like 12 to 16 tables, this is a really interesting spot, because Under the Gun is clearly having some fun at micro stakes, so you definitely could 3-bet. But if you just wanted to focus on fundamentals and not 3-bet with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players to act behind, that certainly has merit as well. If Villain 39 does not 4-bet, you most likely are turning a profit from what I can tell looking through databases. Although the earlier a position you 3-bet a hand as bad as this, the worse your profit margin is, and sometimes it evaporates completely when you look at different players. I would generally say, if you don't feel really, really good about your game, do not do this 3-bet. But just for fun, let's get you in this spot today. And we 3-bet. Villain 28 calls, Villain 13 calls, and Villain 39 calls. And people say this happens a lot. I 3-bet the guy who's opening a ton, and people just cold call me behind. What do I do in that situation? Let's discuss that today. The board comes Queen of Hearts, 8 of Clubs, 6 of Diamonds. It is check to you. Would you like to check or bet? Time is up. We're going to go ahead and check here. We check and it gets checked around. The turn is the 2 of spades. It gets checked to you again. Here, would you like to check or bet? Time is up. We go ahead and check again. The river is the queen of diamonds. It's checked to you again. Here, would you like to check or bet? Time is up. We're going to check here. And it gets checked around. And you end up picking up a nice pot. Now, many people say, I want to go over this pot quite a bit. So, first of all, let's forget the 3-bet pre-flop. If you said fold, I'm actually very proud of you. That is not most likely a call, because what ends up happening, actually, let's discuss that a little bit more at the beginning, because I'm sure not a number of you said call, and I really would recommend against that. So, okay, you're getting about 20-1 on a call. And many people say, oh, it's micro six poker. Surely I'm going to get paid if I flop before. And okay, there's a little bit more of an argument for that. At micro six poker, people haven't learned exactly that one pair in a multi-way pot typically isn't the best hand once the pot gets big. So there is some argument for that. The problem being, it's really difficult when you study databases. If you want to cry... If you want to see a grown man cry, just filter for your cold calls by position in a database. And oftentimes you'll see when people cold call, they're losing like a big blind every single time they do it from these early positions with their just terrible hands. Not their terrible hands, but like these, suited connectors, speculative hands. That would be the better. In my mind, they're terrible because they lose me money, but that's a little bit more aggressive than terminology I should use. Speculative hands, pairs, suited connectors. For them to be good as a cold call, they need to outperform a fold, and a fold is going to be whatever the ante is multiplied by 100. So if the ante is 10% the big blind, then you're losing 10 big blinds every 100 hands. Negative 0.1 times 100. Yeah. Okay. So you need to see that number is higher than negative 10. And you'll see a lot of guys that are negative 40, negative 70 and stuff like that. They're just not making the cold call profitable. And the reason it's so insidious is what happens here is you call, and then let's say villain 13 raises. You fold because you don't really get pot odds, and you forget about it. Not even 2 minutes later, you forget about it the second you fold the hand. Or let's say villain 42 picks up queens and he squeezes. You forget about it. And it's gone. And you don't really think about it except for then your win rate, your buddy's win rate is like 8-9 big blinds per 100. In these micro 6 tournaments, or 10 big blinds, or 11, whatever it is. And yours is only 7 or 6, and you're not really sure where those big blinds are going. This tends to be where they're going because odds are the earlier your cold call is, let's say you're on the button. You could get away with a button cold call. Most of the time you could get away with that, especially at micro 6. Cut off, you're pushing it a little bit, but you're probably going to get away with it most of the time. That's where you see a lot of people making money with their cold calls. Once you get to hijack and later, what ends up happening is just... when you have 4 players to act behind, it's very likely someone's going to pick up a hand and squeeze, which means you don't even get to see the flop. So you end up losing a lot of money because it's just like 2.5, it's like 250 big blinds every 100 times you do that. That really adds up eventually. So if you said fold here, I actually am very happy to hear that, because that's probably the professional decision. That's what I would do here 80% of the time, maybe more. I'm just spitballing. Now, if you said 3-bet, that's very aggressive, but also this player is really likely just to be full of it. And a lot of people say, what do I do when people cold call me? My 3-bets, you tell me play big pots in position with superior hands and you'll make money. But what do I do when all these people cold call me? Well, there's benefits too in micro stakes games, which is nobody bet here to try to take the pot away. And if they bet, you probably would have had to fold. So first of all, let me ask you something. Did you bet here on this turn card? Did you say to yourself, it's very likely that nobody hit that flop because everybody checked, so I'm going to go ahead and bet here? If you said that, you're playing into a very basic trick that a lot of low stakes and micro stakes players do, which is pot controlling. So what they do is, let's say somebody has 6-7 of hearts here, or they have 8-9 of diamonds, and they don't want to play a big pot. So they don't bet on the flop, and they check, and they hope you kind of bet your hand for them. And then they'll call down. That's a very basic poker player thing you'll see a lot of the time. So you want to be careful about leading here, because if you do get called, well, the question then becomes, there certainly is cashing out your equity, which is, okay, let's say somebody has king 10 here. They don't know it, but they have a lot of equity in this pot versus you. And if they folded that, that certainly would be better than giving them this free river card. I understand that. But when you have 3 players here, it's very likely someone has a random 6 or 8 or even queen that they're trying to check for pot control. Or just a random pair of 7s that they're not letting go of. So you don't want to lead here because you're very likely just to be, you're not going to get 3s to call you for value, and you're probably not going to get 5s to fold as a bluff. So the bet doesn't really have a ton of merit just as far as getting people to fold out their overcards. It's really going to be unlikely that not someone has a pair greater than yours. And this is one of the merits of playing micro stakes games, though, is nobody takes a shot at this board, which is not going to happen in higher stakes games a lot. A lot of times somebody... Let's take a look at their hands here. So, for example, like king 10 of diamonds there in position. Okay, he's pretty short, so maybe that's not a terrific example. But you would see a lot of people at higher stakes games go ahead and bet that in position because, if the turn's a king, a jack, a diamond, I can keep firing. It wouldn't be shocking to see any of these players behind us just squeeze at higher stakes games. So that does help us in some fashion because we do just get to keep checking and show this hand down. And now we just want a serious pot. Okay, that's it for today's episode, guys, or this episode, guys. I'll see you for the next one of these.
That's all we're going to be sharing with you here on YouTube from this part of Alex Fitzgerald's newest course where he goes through and crushes a $2 buy-in tournament. If you want more of this interactive learning experience, head over to pokercoaching.com/fathers right now. Thanks for being here. If you like this video, click like and subscribe. If you have any other ideas for content, like you all said, hey, Jonathan, give us some micro stakes tournament content. So we did. Here it is. If you want anything else, let me know. I listen. Good luck in your games, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye. How do you like free stuff? Yeah? Well, good, because I have a free membership to my site, pokercoaching.com, for you. Click. Get out of the way, hat. Click right up there to get it. And while you're at it, go ahead and click the subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video.